Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Monday, October 19, 2015, around 6:58 in the morning, Billerica, Massachusetts. It's cold out this morning, only about 25 degrees, but we will rebound in this area to close to 50 today, but that's 10 degrees below average. Some places in New England yesterday saw some snowflakes, but no accumulation, just in the hills and the mountains. Some news to report: the New England Patriots beat the Indianapolis Colts by the score of 34-27 last night on Sunday Night Football on NBC. The Patriots are now 5-0. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and Bob Costas called this game. They're pretty amazing calling these games and stuff like that. And the New York Mets beat the Chicago Cubs by the score of 4-1. And the Mets are 2-0 in the NLCS. The series moves to Chicago for Wrigley Field for games 3, 4, and perhaps game 5. But I think this is going to go a long series. And sad news to report in the world of game shows: legendary game show producer Ralph Andrews passed away at the age of 87 due to Alzheimer's disease. Ralph Andrews was famous for producing game shows such as The Liars Club and You Don't Say and Lingo and stuff like that, but he was basically kind of blackballed from the business after his production company went bust in the late 1980s and stuff, and he tried to go to get jobs for other like producers and stuff, but he wasn't hired, and he's filed a discrimination lawsuit saying of his of his age and stuff, but that basically got him blackballed from Hollywood for the rest of his life. It's sad. And that's about it on the news. My first video subject of the day is my reviews. I'm starting these reviews of the pay-per-views WCW Halloween Havoc, which always happen in October. There were 12 of them, and I'm going to start with the first one, 1989, from the Philadelphia Civic Center. The main event was in a Thunder Cage, Nature Boy Ric Flair and Sting facing off against the Great Muta and Terry Funk, and special guest referee was Bruno Sammartino. I'll tell you more about that when I progress along. And calling WCW Halloween Havoc for 1989 was good old JR Jim Ross and Bob Cotto, and Gordon Soley, the dean of wrestling announcers, was the interviewer for most of these matches. No dark matches for this Halloween Havoc, and this is what happened on the pay-per-view. The first match was the Z-Man, Tom Zink, facing off against Captain Mike Rotunda. This was about a competitive match, about 13-14 minutes. Z-Man wins with a flying body press for the 1, 2, 3. Nothing to write home about. It was a decent opener. The next match, it was the Samoan SWAT team, Fatu and Samu, and the Samoan Savage, who was Tonga Kid or Tama, facing off against the Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton, and Stan Lane, with Jim Cornette and Dr. Death Steve Williams. This was a highly competitive six-man tag, about 18 minutes. Ending had Jim Cornette knock out Sir Oliver Humperkey with his tennis racket, but the Samoan Savage delivered a move to Stan Lane. Stan Lane hit Jim Cornette by mistake, and Samoan Savage pinned him for the 1, 2, 3. And that was it. The next match was Tommy Wildfire Rich, the icon of Georgia Championship Wrestling, facing off against the Cuban Assassin. This was an 8-minute match. Tommy Rich wins with the Luthez press, but this was an awful match. This had no business on the pay-per-view, but they had added to use some filler and stuff, so they had to add this match. The next match was the Fabulous Freebirds, for the WCW World Tag Team Championship. It was the dynamic duo Shane Douglas, but before he was the franchise, and Johnny Ace, who's now known as John Laurinaitis, with Jim Cornette as their advisor, facing off against the WCW World Tag Team Champions, the Fabulous Freebirds, Michael PSAs, and Jimmy Jam Garvin. This is when, like, Jim Cornette was advising the dudes, and the dynamic dudes were boo big time, and they were the faces, and the Freebirds were, even though they were heels, they were being cheered like crazy. And this was a decent match. Ending had Johnny Ace and Shane Douglas tried to go for the surfboard, but like Hayes tripped Douglas, and Garvin pinned Douglas for the 1, 2, 3, and the Freebirds retain the WCW World Tag Team Championship. The next match was another tag team match. It was Doom, who were under the mask at this time, but they were Ron Simmons and Butch Reed with Woman in their corner, facing against the Steiner brothers, Rick and Scott Steiner. The background of this match: Rick, in the summer of 1989, Rick fell in love with a girl named Robin Green, who dressed so dorky and stuff like that. But when they went out on a first date, Robin turned into a sex symbol and stuff like that. But eventually, Robin Green turned on Rick Steiner and had like 2 masked wrestlers on there, and it turned out to be like Doom and stuff. And Robin Green became Woman. This was a grudge match, about 15 minutes. Doom wins this match when Woman gives Butch Reed like a foreign object to put in his match, and Butch Reed pins Rick for 1, 2, 3. The next match was for the WCW United States Championship. It was Flying Brian Pillman facing off against the Total Package Lex Luger. Before the match, Flying Brian had cheerleaders come with him and stuff. And this was an awesome match, about 16, 17 minutes. Probably one of the best matches Pillman's wrestled and stuff. He was getting a decent push for the U.S. title. Lex Luger was, this was probably his best heel run in WCW and stuff. And back and forth. Luger wins it with like a cradle and stuff. But Pillman had a very great match, in my humble opinion, back and forth. He came with it close to winning the U.S. Championship. I'm very surprised that Pillman did not maybe get a quick U.S. title and then he drop it back to Luger and stuff, because Pillman was way over with the fans and stuff at this point. The next match was the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal, with Paul Ellering facing off against the Skyscrapers, who were Sid Vicious, I am the man, I am the master, and I'm the ruler of the world, and Dangerous Dan Spivey, with Theodore R. Long as their manager and stuff. And this was, a good tag team match, back and forth competitive. Ending had Theodore R. Long hit Paul Ellering with the key he had, because he also managed Norman the Lunatic at this time. He threw the key to Dangerous Dan Spivey, and he used it on Hawk and Animal. Referee saw that as foreign object, automatic disqualification. The Skyscrapers were beating up on Animal and stuff. They were going to decapitize him, but Hawk makes the rescue and clears the lane. And the main event for this Halloween Havoc, it was Thunder Cage. It was a tag team match. It was WCW World Champion Nature Boy Ric Flair and the man they called Stain, with Ole Anderson in their corner. He had a towel and stuff, and facing off against WCW Television Champion, the Great Muta, and Terry Funk. You egg-sucking dog, you dusty Rhodes! And they had the infamous Playboy Gary Hart in their corner, and the special guest referee for this match was the living legend, Bruno Sammartino. And the only way to win this Thunder Cage is when the cornerman threw the towel in for their team and stuff like that. And before Thunder Cage happened, there was a small fire and stuff that was, not good. It was about 26-minute match and stuff, back and forth. Great Muta attacked Bruno Sammartino. Bruno Sammartino knocked out the Great Muta. The ending had Sting give the Stinger splash to Muta, and Ric Flair put the figure for a leg lock on Terry Funk, and Gary Hart tried to interfere, but Ole Anderson punched him, and when he punched him, the towel that Gary Hart had went into the ring, and that means the match was terminated, and Ric Flair and Sting won this match with the Thunder Cage. This Thunder Cage match with the Fire was, not that great in my humble opinion and stuff. And that was about it on the card. What I give this Halloween Havoc, I would give it an average C. It was an average WCW pay-per-view, some solid tag team matches, but there were some matches in this card that were junk, had no business being on a pay-per-view, but they needed to be filler and stuff like that. And that's about it on this. Tomorrow I'll review WCW Halloween Havoc 1990 from the UIC Pavilion in Chicago, Illinois. The main event was for the WCW World Title, Sting versus the man that rules the world, Sid Vicious. And the ending is very screwy and stuff. And I'll be back with 2 more video blogs. One will be about the former restaurant in Billerica, Villaggio's and the Manning Manse. And the third and final video blog of the night will be about Oklahoma City Thunder star player, Kevin Durant. Keep calm, everybody. I'm the Julie Button guy. Julie Button rocks and has the nicest legs in the world, next to Heidi Pratt's. Molly Rosenblatt rocks as well. Elizabeth Hart is so stunning. And in the words of Sean Lucha, get out! See you later!